Okay, so we've gone through the formula and we laid out the foundation. Now it's time to start executing the plan. It's at this stage where actually I didn't actually go through the formula, so just let me go through the formula right now. So you can see it on the screen. It's this is the authority acceleration formula. It's 1, 10, 100. And just let me walk you through what that means. The number 1 actually means 1 hour of content creation per week. So what you'll need to do is create 1 hour of content creation per week. Now, I highly recommend that you do 1 hour of video creation primarily focused on Facebook Live, because Facebook is given a lot of attention to the Facebook Live platform. So you'll want to create 1 hour of content through Facebook Live per week to start your authority acceleration formula, or to build your celebrity status. So 1 hour a week, you're going to focus your time on creating that content. Now, whether that be 2 30-minute shows or one hour show like this one, it's creating that 1 hour of content per week. Now, the next item is the 10. Now, that stands for 10 hours of distribution and engagement per week. So once you create that 1 hour of content, you're going to spend 10 hours per week distributing that content in a variety of different formats to a variety of different platforms, and engaging with people on those platforms that engage with you, or you're reaching out and engaging with other people that haven't yet engaged with you, but you feel that they're part of your ideal target market or part of your demographic. So for that 1 hour of content that you're going to create per week, you're going to spend 10 hours that week distributing and engaging in that content. And you're going to do that for 100 days consecutively. So the 100 stands for doing this for 100 consecutive days. So if you're doing 1 hour a week and you're spending 10 hours a week engaging and distributing that content, so what I recommend is you spread that 10 hours out over the 7 days. So you're not doing 10 hours all in one day. You spend a couple hours each day of the 7 days a week, or 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, in order to distribute and engage that content. And you continue this for a minimum of 100 days. So what you've then done is build up your content. You've distributed it out there to the variety of different platforms. So what I'm saying is that 1 hour of video that you create from Facebook Live, you need to repurpose that 1 hour video, which we're going to talk about a little bit further in the program, is taking that 1 hour of video and actually repurposing it throughout the platforms, so that you can put it in different mediums for people to be able to consume. So you don't want it all in one medium. You want a variety of different mediums, and you want it on a variety of different platforms. Okay, so that 10 hours is spent doing that, and the 100 hours, or the 100 days, is the time frame in which you need to do this process consistently, persistently, for a minimum of 100 days. So that's where you're at. So a lot of people will get to this point. Okay, they understand it. Okay, I need to spend an hour a week creating content. I need to lay the foundation. I need to understand who my ideal target market is. Okay, I got that point. I understand all of that. You know, I'm educated. However, it's the next stage where a lot of people will stop. And here's why: because they actually stumble with a lot of the challenges that they actually have. So what are some of those challenges? Well, the first challenge is strategy. Okay, so there's different things that are, when it comes to the strategy. The first one is the content strategy for maximum repurposing. Now what that means is, if you're going to spend 1 hour creating your Facebook Live show, like I do, I actually have a strategy when I deliver this show, and the strategy is designed for maximum amount of repurposing of this content. So one thing you'll notice is I'm always reintroducing either the topic or the guest. So I'm reintroducing that on a regular basis. So that enables me to create an editable clip. So from the time I reintroduce to the next time I start to reintroduce, that becomes a clip. So having a strategy, a repurposing strategy to maximize the 1 hour that I'm delivering this content, I want to maximize that 1 hour to get the greatest amount of repurposed content in the future. And the next thing is embedding calls to action within your content. So as you're doing your 1 hour show, you want to have some consistent calls to action within the content, as well as when you're repurposing it, there wants to be some calls to action, not blatant sales calls to action, but calls to action that are embedded within the content itself, or that you're actually going to give people something else of value, maybe in exchange for their name of email. So the strategy of really understanding that strategy of embedding those calls to action within the content itself, so it just seems natural. So it doesn't seem all salesy, like a typical sleazy salesman strategy. You're just doing it, embedding it, so that you understand. So when the person reading it just seems like it's so natural to click on the link and to download what it is that you want them to consume. And the next part of the strategy is scheduling the distribution on the various platforms. So a lot of people aren't quite sure how to actually, what strategy to use when they're trying to schedule the content. And what platforms should they be scheduling content on? So understanding these aspects of the strategy and the strategy for engaging with others on the particular content. So a lot of people struggle, they don't even get started, and some of the challenges that come up is one of the main ones is the strategy. They're not quite understanding the strategy behind all of the things that actually have to take place. And the next one is time. Time is a huge factor for a lot of people. They just don't feel that they have the actual time to do all of this. It's not just the time in actually doing it, but it's the structuring, the planning, and the executing of the strategy. So you may only be consuming or creating 1 hour of content per week, but how long does it actually take you to create that 1 hour of content? How long is it, the strategy behind it, the planning of the content, how long does it actually take you time-wise to actually deliver that 1 hour session? And the next thing is the time involved in repurposing the content for the distribution. Now that is taking that 1 hour of content and turning it into blogs, to articles, to a video podcast, to an audio podcast, creating some social tweets or some social posts, creating images with sayings from the content that you can use on things like Pinterest or Instagram. So the time that it takes to repurpose that content, a lot of people struggle with the time to do all of that. And the next thing is the time spent distributing that content across all these different platforms. So going in on a regular daily basis, spending that 2 hours a day distributing on the content. And the next piece, engaging with others. So spending that 2 hours a day consistently, persistently, uploading the new content, distributing it to the various platforms, and then engaging with people as well. So a lot of people struggle with the time aspect of this particular strategy. And the next one are the skills involved. So a lot of people may not have the skills it takes to produce their own branded live show like this one. Anyone can just take their cell phone and click on the live button and create a live stream to Facebook and actually do their show that way. It's very easy. It's very simple. It's not complicated. Just about everyone has a smartphone, so they can do that. But a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business people, they want the branded Facebook Live show like this one is, that has a lot of branding in it. So they don't have the skills involved they may not have the necessary skills right now involved to putting all of that together, making a show like that, structuring this. They may not have the skills involved when it comes to structuring the show for repurposing. So like I said, this show is very, very specifically designed with repurposing in mind. So maybe you don't have the information or the knowledge you need to understand, well, how can I structure a show to get the maximum amount of repurposing possible. Maybe you don't have the skills to create the graphics, to do the editing of the video or the audio. Those just aren't in your skill set. You know your business. You're not a graphic designer or a video or audio editor, and maybe you don't have the skills needed to write effective blogs, articles, or notes for the video pages. So these are skills that an individual would need as well, and these are some challenges that people are faced with. Well, I want to do this, John, but I'm not I don't have the skills to produce a live show, or I can't create the graphics or do the editing for all that repurposing. I don't really get the structure that you're putting together for the repurposing of the show. I'm not a great writer, so writing articles and blogs effectively that are going to get people to move them to take action. Not quite sure how that all works. And the next thing a lot of people may not have, or they have challenges with, are the resources to get all of this stuff done. And the first resource is having the software or hardware of running a branded Facebook show. Now, I just talked to one of my private clients just before the show. She wanted to know how much the software was that I used to actually run this show. So I use Wirecast 7 Pro 7.2. And I believe the cost is somewhere around the $800 US for the Wirecast. Now there's also Mimo Live that you can use as well to do a branded show like this. So I'm not sure what the cost or the investment is for Mimo Live, but so a lot of people don't have those resources of either the hardware or the software. So the software to produce a show, or the hardware, such as, I have a camera connected to a Ultra Studio mini recorder that connects to my laptop, that connects to my Wirecast. So, that's some of the hardware that's involved in producing this branded show. Or you have the Mimo camera with the Mimo Live, where you can create the branded show using that as well. People just don't have that hardware or that software. And maybe they don't have the editing software for editing video or audio. That's another challenge people have. Well, I don't want to go out and invest in all this hardware or software. I don't want to, have to sit and learn all this stuff. It's not productive for me and my business. I'm better. My time is better spent engaging with people and talking to people about my business than it is learning all of these different strategies or learning all these new skills. And the next one is the software for creating graphics. A lot of that stuff you can actually just get online or use online services such as Canva, for example. But you still need to have some sort of an eye for graphic design. So having those skills, a lot of people are challenged by not having those skills, or outsourcers in all the skill sets required. So finding outsourcers that you can work with on all of these different skills is in itself challenging. Finding the right people that can do a lot of this stuff is a process in itself. It's taken me years and years and a lot of different outsourcers to eventually find the people that I can work with that can produce this type of stuff for me, so I don't actually have to do a lot of this myself. But it took a lot of trial and error and a lot of money invested to work with a lot of people that just didn't work out. They couldn't produce what I wanted them to produce, so it took a long time. So those are a lot of the skills that a lot of people don't necessarily have. So those are a lot of the challenges that people are faced with. The strategy, the not understanding the strategy. They don't have the time. They don't have the skill sets, or they don't have the resources to be able to do all this stuff and implement this strategy that I'm talking about. So what I'm going to get into in just a second is a possible solution for people that may find themselves challenged right now in implementing this over the next 100 days. So